الله أكبر حي على الصلاة الله أكبر.
Islam Moors? Islam. Please be seated. I rise, giving all praise to Allah, the Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the balanced universes. Allah is the author, creator, governor of the world, almighty and eternal and incomprehensible. All praise is due to Allah. Islam. I extend high honor to his forerunner, to his Prophet Noble Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam Moors?
Islam.
I extend high honors to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations. Islam?
Islam.
I extend high honors. The Moorish flag, the red flag, with the 5-pointed green star in the center, 5 points representing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam?
Islam.
Giving honors to the American flag, also known as the Stars and Stripes. This flag exists as a constant reminder to European nations to be the Moors of compound interest. Islam?
Islam.
This is also the flag of our birth. Islam?
Islam.
Giving honors to Noble Sheik staff, Noble Vanguard staff for keeping the peace. And giving honors to you, the Hills and Bays, for without you there's no Moors. Islam Moors?
Islam.
Everyone in the room tonight.
All is good.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Now, I don't have any signs and wonders. I don't have any deep, super lofty information. I just want to, kind of camel back on, what the chairman demonstrated. His demonstration, was part of a conversation, several conversations we had earlier this week. And we were just reflecting on our temple, the brotherhood, the work that we're called to do, what the Prophet laid out, how he laid it out, so on and so forth. And, this is, the conversation Sheik had, And doing that, it just causes us to, reflect back on the instructions. We have to remember, the Prophet Noble Ali, being the master that he was, gave us these specific instructions for a divine purpose. We have to remember the Prophet had access to all kinds of holy records, but he chose these specific lessons to give to us to cure our condition. Islam? Now, if we don't apply the lessons, right, then it'll show in our actions, and it'll show in our lack of productivity. Somewhere along the line, we're not pressing forth like we need to. Islam was? All right, with that thought, I'd like to draw on chapter 28, Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple of America, Master and Servant. And I'm drawing up for this because being the descendants of the ancient Moorish, ancient fathers and mothers, we have an ego, we have a superiority complex, because we come from world rulers. But we have to remember that as Muslims, even world rulers are servants of Allah. Islam?
Islam.
All right? As the instruction reads, holy instructions from the Prophet, Master and Servant. Instruction 1. Repine not, O man, at the state of servitude. It is the appointment of Allah, and hath many advantages. It removeth thee from cares and solicitudes in life. That first instruction is full, because most people would buck at that state of, repine or complain not, oh man, at the state of servitude, because in most of our mentality, like, who wants to be a servant, right? We've confused because of our, our past, our immediate past in this country, servitude with slavery, or servitude with chattel slavery. Those are two different realms. Islam was?
Islam.
Certain cultures have retained the honor in being a servant. You know what I mean? Like, hate to draw from the European nations, but amongst the English, like to be a butler, it's an honor to it. So, it's almost like a prestige. It's a order. Anybody seen the movie The Butler? You saw that?
Yeah.
Remember when Forrest Whitaker got to the White House?
Yeah.
And he was talking to the chief butler?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You see when they pressed hands?
I didn't even
Remember, and they shot the grip, because he was initiating them into that order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you look, they had a ritual, with setting the table and the whole lot. They demonstrate that on Django as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And how it was orderly, and they sit back, they was gonna put while they eat and make sure, you know what I'm saying? If you take that degree of honor with what the Prophet left you and the charge that he put upon us, that it's an honor to be a servant of Allah. It's an honor to serve the Prophet. Islam was, says it has many advantages. It removeth thee from the cares and solicitudes in life. Stop worrying about how your salvation is going to come. It's already been brought to you. Now the Prophet was the one that had to think to choose which records to put together, to compile it, to analyze us, to see what our specific needs were. He was the one that had to do all that. He was the master. He was the one that had to do all that. He took us and said, no, here, I did all the work, here, just live it. Just live a life accordingly. Islam wars? Not telling you to not think, right? Because to be a good servant, you still have to be, have to think, because you have to be a thinking person to, to demonstrate to help create an environment that's going to bring honor to your master. Islam wars?
Islam.
Instruction 2. The honor of a servant is his fidelity. His highest virtues are submission and obedience. So, the point I like to drive home all the time, the first time you come across with that phraseology of submission and obedience is the instructions, the marriage instructions for man and wife. And it's in reference to the sisters. As we see here, it's, that's gender neutral. It could be man or woman. But the honor of a servant is fidelity. What does the word fidelity mean?
Trust.
Loyalty, right? Our hand press and another school of thought, they call that fides, F-I-D-E-S, fides. Fides means loyalty, means fidelity, So the highest virtues are submission and obedience. Later in the record, or early in the record, it says, what shall he count as his highest learning? The study of what? Virtue. Should be his highest learning. But the highest virtue itself
the study of
is submission and obedience. Right? So, again, like I always tell people, you have to cross-reference the prophet to get the whole message. Instruction 3, be patient, therefore, under the reproofs of thy master. And when he rebuketh thee, answer not again. The silence of thy resignation shall not be forgotten. That's a heavy thing, because as men, like I opened up, as men, we have egos, right? So nobody likes to be corrected. You know what I'm saying? But the only way that you're going to grow is if you're corrected. A person that doesn't correct you more is somebody that doesn't love you. You know what I'm saying? If I walk out the house and I got dried up slob from the night before in my beard, coal in my eye, and I see you and I greet you, Islam, or you say Islam and don't tell me I'm looking like that, we can't be brothers. Islam, and that's the thing, to correct me, again, like the mirror was created so you could correct yourself. Brotherhoods were created so we could be the mirrors for one another, right? So, look, let me use Brother Kenneth Montgomery Bass as an example today. Look how our brothers are arrayed from head to toe. As the brother I killed was holding up the prophet, I saw the prophet in him. Just straight reflection. I was like, suited and booted, ready for business. I can send them on right in City Hall. Close a deal on behalf of all Asiatics in America.
You ready?
Islam,
you ready?
And they would look, he's the part. And he's living the life accordingly. Islam, because you can't just dress the part and not be the part.
Yeah.
Islam. So he's doing both. So praise Allah for that. And praise Allah for that example, because that gives us something to strive for. Islam wants. And as brothers, that's what we have to be for each other. And that patience key is a monster. That patience. And in Arabic, there's a word, sabur. The word sabur means patient. Cognate, word with that is the word sabun. And sabun is soap. Right? So we use soap to clean ourselves. So, but the root of it, of sabun, is sabr, patience. Right? So patience cleanses, like the soap, sabun, cleanses the body. Patience cleanses the spirit and soul. Islam on? So we have to work on that. Instruction 4, be studious of his interests. Now think about the prophet in this regard, as the master. Be studious of his interests. Be diligent in his affairs, and faithful to the trust which he reposeth in thee. Islam? Keep going. Instruction 5, thy time and thy labor belong unto him. Defraud him not thereof, for he payeth thee for them. Islam wars? How many of you brought your nationality cards now? Put your nationality card out. Put your nationality card in your right hand. Where's everybody go? A lot of us, we haven't pulled our nationality cards out from the day since we got it. Let's put it out and look at it. Islam wars? Take nationality card, put it in your right hand between your index finger and your middle finger. Thumb out like this. This is called wages. Learn something like that. Wages. Right? Wages. Right? I'll read this again. Thy time and thy labor belongeth unto him. Defraud him not thereof, for he payeth thee for them. These are your wages, man. See, when you're with your employer, you work with the expectation of getting paid. Islam or?
Islam.
All right? So how does the Prophet Noble Drew Ali pay you? These are your wages, right here. Look at the card, bro. Islam, Unity, Allah. This is your national identification card for the Moorish Science Temple of America and birthrights for the Moorish Americans, etc. We honor all the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. May the blessings of the God of our Father, Allah, be upon you that carry this card. I do hereby declare that you are a Muslim under the divine laws of the Holy Quran of Mecca. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I am a citizen of the USA. Noble Drew Ali the Prophet. These are your wages, folks. The word wage means a pledge, right? The word wage is the same word as the word wed, like wedding, right? Because when you marry somebody, quote unquote, you're taking a pledge or a vow, something that's sacred. Islam also? So when the Prophet, when you agreed, to be a servant of the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, by being an upright Moorish American Muslim, you agreed to be diligent in his affairs, and as a result thereof, he gives you your wages. Islam also? We're back in your wallet. There's a, at the Georgia State Capitol building, some of the stuff that we go over will mean something to you later. I don't want y'all to think that y'all was never taught. There's Georgia State Capitol building, there's a statue, and there's a European with a suit on. He just faced a certain direction, he's like this.
Right across the street, the dude.
Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He working, man. When I saw that, I was like, Islam? But I couldn't do nothing but honor it, though.
Yeah.
Because they standing on their principles, but we supposed to speak that same language. We had a prophet came to us, gave us them same degrees.
Islam. In some schools of thoughts, that's the only way that you can receive your wages is
Islam.
Is here.
Islam. And some say, in that similar school of thought, we travel similar path. In that same school of thought, they say that the wage might be corn, oil, and wine.
Islam.
Because in the ancient world, that was how you got paid. And each one of those things represent a certain degree of sustenance or abundance. Islam? Like you said, a cornucopia. I don't know if you've seen that before. It represents abundance. But the point is that the master we labor for blessed us. Islam was? We're able to see our birthright all around us, and we're part of that. There's a show that our former chairman, Brother Sheik Heru, he long ago told me about, and I fronted on it. I was like, I'll get to it. So I finally, last night, so let me check out what this most talking about. This is 3 years late, right?
3 years late.
So, but it's called Ertugrul. Y'all up on this? On Netflix, Ertugrul, right? It's called Ertugrul, the Resurrection. It's about it's about the Turks. It's before the Ottomans, it's the Seljuk Turks, right? Their predecessors, right? And it's leading up to them being able to take Constantinople and turn it into Istanbul in 1453. It's the whole lead up to that. But the whole thing is like, all you seeing is you through the whole demonstration, right? And you can see like the honor, when they greet each other, assalamu alaikum. Go straight to the heart. I'm like, oh, that's I'm watching it like, oh, praise Allah, this is beautiful. And it's just like, it's a milestone show. How many people have heard of the Sufi, Ibn Arabi? Right? Where was Ibn Arabi from? Andalusia, Moorish Spain, right? So I don't want to tell y'all the whole show, because I will, because I'm going home to watch it tonight. But there's a scene on there where they run into Ibn Arabi, but they didn't run into him long ago. It was all events at Moors, But and it goes in the whole thing. Ibn Arabi ends up being the guy Ertugrul being his guide. You know what I'm saying? Ertugrul he don't understand it when he first meet him. But Ibn Arabi's like, yeah, you're supposed to be one of mine. Islam. It's like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is like I say all the time. A lot of times we weren't looking for him, but he found us. Islam was no spook, nothing at all, right? But it was at the right time. Imagine the day when the person that you met that asked you what's your nationality. Think about that day. Imagine if you woke up 10 minutes late. would you have ran into the person and asked you what was your nationality? Islam? Or if you went left instead of right, or Islam? The whole thing was divinely ordained for you to be here.
All favors, all the sins.
Islam was? All right. Islam was the time appointed by Allah. Let's move forward. Instruction 6. And thou who art master, be just to thy servant, if thou expect from him fidelity, and reasonable in thy commands, if thou expecteth ready obedience. Moors, the Sheiks here at Temple number 19, we go to great lengths to make sure that anything we ask from the brothers, is not a burden. Islam Moors try to check brothers' schedules and see who's doing what. You know what I'm saying? And not burden brothers. It's not like that's how we was taught though. We were taught a little harder. Like, no, ain't no option. You gotta be there. Forget the excuse. That's how I was taught. Islam. But as time unfolds, I'm realizing the generations are different. So you can't put on newer generations like you used to in the old ways, right? But the virtue is still necessary, right? The virtue of knowing that you need to be there. That we can't change. That's the immutable. Islam?
Islam.
All right? But again, so we label to be reasonable in our commands. Instruction 7, the spirit of a man is in him. Severity and rigor may create love. Spartan stuff. May create fear, but can never command love. That's the answer to Moorish position on Nikkei Machiavelli's. Is it better to be loved than fear? That's our position on it. Islam. Instruction 8, mix kindness with reproof and reason with authority. So shall thy admonitions take place in his heart, and his duty shall become his pleasure. Instruction 9, he shall serve thee faithfully from the motive of gratitude. He shall obey thee cheerfully from the principle of love. And fail thou not in return to give his diligence and fidelity their proper reward. Islam was?
Islam.
How many times the Prophet mentioned the word fidelity in that chapter? Mentions it a couple of times, if not a few. Right? Loyalty is very important. It's less evil in the sight of Allah to steal than to betray. Anybody have been betrayed before? Betrayal gets on you like a bad sweater. Like you just don't fit right. Even if you take it off, it's still like it's hard to shake. You know what I'm saying? That's like, how many times the Prophet was betrayed? Islam? If he was betrayed, he was sent from Allah, you think you ain't gonna be betrayed? Comes with it, but your skin gotta be thick to do this work. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say you gotta have a calling to do this. You have to, really reflect in yourself like, am I called to do this work? Or what is my specific call? You know what I'm saying? What's your divine ministry? What's your family? What's your divine ministry? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, Allah sent you to the earth to do something. You know what I'm saying? And we're not to interfere with that. We're to assist helping you to unfold that. Islam? All right? Moving forward. I draw from the Humanity pamphlet. It's excerpt from the laws that were passed during the first convention. I'm going to draw from Friday, October 26, 1928, a warning from the Prophet for all governors and grand sheiks and head officials of all temples. It says, renew your acts and amend your ways, because the great conference is on the way, and in it is where the law will be enforced by the great grand body. The continuance of the present officers in the temple will depend on your past good work. Those who have been delinquent may now know that they will not be tolerated any longer, because this great divine and national movement must move on according to law. These things shall be proclaimed. There is no favorite in any of the temples, for the law is laid down, and everyone who claims a part of the work must be governed accordingly. All are one. There's but one temple in this nation, and there's but one prophet of the temples. I come to speak to all nations, bringing them a message of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And the head of every temple, if anyone has violated these divine laws, it will mean his discontinuance. For no man is to be under the influence of intoxicating liquors, nor to seek to tear up families while under the influence of any evil motive. Nor must he speak anything that will prejudice the minds of the public against the divine movement. If any of the laws are violated, any body of grand sheik or sheiks can file a charge against the violation to the grand body over which the prophet presides. This power is vested in 7 or more sheiks for the protection of your temple and the divine movement. The Prophet Noble Drali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam Moors? If we have eyes to see, we can see that our Prophet was zero tolerance with BS about the movement. because he knew, like, if he said that, which he did say, this is the only sole foundation which all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens. And then he went on to talk about how he trying to disqualify him. That being the case, if this is the only sole foundation, we will make this our first thought, because the tributaries that run off of this is our families, our wives, our business endeavors, who we are as men, who we are as American citizens. Everything branches off of Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam Moors?
Islam.
That's what this movement means to us, right? I'd like to draw from another article. Again, not wanting to burden the Moors. Right? This is a compilation of Moorish Guide articles. And this article, Moorish Guide articles while the Prophet was in the forum. This particular article is called Following Our Leaders. It says that thousands of Moorish Americans will follow their leaders, regardless of the propaganda put forth by those who have designs to hinder them in the work for the advancement of their people. We will not stop to question the requisites, qualifications, nor anything else. So as long as our leaders will have investigated and passed on the course of action which we feel is enough endorsement for us to act. We have long known that the first attempt to crush the leaders of any movement or organization is to plant dissension among their followers. Such will never be the case with the Moorish American. For we have chosen our leaders. That within itself tells the world that we are going to follow them. All of the knocks and slams that come from anyone against our leaders will be ignored by us. Where they lead us, we will follow. Islam Moors? That might sound like blind following, but if you understand the degree of Muhammad, or the Great Quran of Muhammad, which is in our authority, in the Great Quran of Muhammad, it uses a phrase about the faithful. It says that the faithful says, we hear, we obey. Islam Moors?
Islam.
Because of lawful order, we hear Islam, we hear and we obey. You know what I'm saying? We immediately get to work. Like when the adhan is called, the call to prayer, you say, Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala salah. Come, not just come to salah, come lively. Hayya is life, lively. Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala salah. Come lively to success. Come lively to success. Islam was, and that hayyu, which is the Arabic word for living, or ever living, el hayyu, ever living, is a necessary vibration because, all our prophets came to pretty much a dead people. Prophet Noble Drew definitely came to a dead people. Because he came to a people who did not know who they were. Islam Moors, the chairman hit, some excellent demonstrations, but he kept hitting on brotherhood. And I don't think, I'm gonna ask this question, but I'm gonna ask it rhetorically. So don't answer it. Those who have will know what it is. But, how many of you have been initiated into a brotherhood? And if you have, think of what that initiation entailed. Think of what led up to that initiation. Think about while you were being initiated, what was your state of mind when you were being initiated? You know what I'm saying? The Moorish Science Temple of America, we initiate. This right here. The Prophet says, Moorish Science Temple of America, to all whom these presidents may come, greeting. The Home Office, by virtue of the authority vested in the Most Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and the Moorish Science Temple of America, by a lawfully granted charter of the state of Illinois, granted this charter to this branch of the Moorish Science Temple of America at 394 Cleveland Avenue in the county of Fulton, in the state of Georgia, to be styled and known as the Moorish Science Temple of America, number 19, invested with all the powers and privileges of a subordinate temple within the jurisdiction of the said Home Office. Hear ye, jurisdiction aforesaid by virtue of whose authority exists while acting in conformity with the laws, rules, and regulations of the home temple and the subordinate temple aforesaid being duly and lawfully organized, constituted, and established, is hereby authorized and empowered to initiate and confer the degrees of said temple in accordance with the established forms and usages upon all such persons as are duly and lawfully qualified to promote and practice the teachings of all the true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc. So there'll be ones that tell you that we don't demonstrate the great Muhammad. That's not what it says. Islam, right? To promote and practice the teachings of all the true and divine prophets. It says the officers and members who benefit under this charter do hereby pledge themselves to act at all times in obedience to the commands and edicts of the illustrious Noble Drew Ali. the founder and head of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Home Office can at any time suspend, revoke, or take away this charter or warrant of authority if, in the judgment of our Grand Ruler and Prophet Noble Drew Ali, said subordinate temple has violated any of the principles or rules of the Moorish Science Temple of America. In testimony whereof I have hereunto subscribed my name and affixed the seal of the said Moorish Science Temple of America. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it gives the date, this, 15th day of July, 2006. Chicago, Illinois County of Cook attests, and there's a line, and most people would never really look at the charter. There's a line where the executive ruler that issues the charter signs at. But underneath that, it says noble and prophet. So the executive ruler that signs, no matter what day and time we're in, is signing on behalf of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam Wars?
Islam.
Huge burden and responsibility. Huge. Islam Wars?
Islam.
I have height problems, so I can't put this back
Can
on.
you pass it?
Brother Kenneth, thank you very much. I descend from the pygmy people. We need you taller brothers. Praise Allah. So we initiate Islam Wars.
Islam.
So more demonstrating brotherhood. I'm just going to read this, and we're going to go through a brief exercise after that, and then we'll lower the meeting notes. Islam.
Islam.
We'll draw from a record entitled "The Teachings of the Essenes from Enoch to the Dead Sea Scrolls." Right? In this record, on page 11, think about the brotherhood. Right? When we say brotherhood of the brotherhood, it's a universal brotherhood. Different cultures, different nations have a name for Allah, right? It says traces of the teaching, the gifts of the understanding. It's the same language. Traces of the teaching have appeared in almost every country and religion. Its fundamental principles were taught in ancient Persia, Egypt, India, Tibet, China, Palestine, Greece, and many other countries. But it has been transmitted in its most pure form by the Essenes, that mysterious brotherhood which lived during the last 2 or 3 centuries BC and the 1st century of the Christian era at the Dead Sea in Palestine and at Lake Merotis in Egypt. In Palestine and Syria, the members of the brotherhood were known as the Essenes, and in Egypt as the Therapeutae, or the healers. The esoteric part of their teaching is given in the Tree of Life, the Communion, and the Sevenfold Peace. The exoteric or outer teaching appears in the Essene Gospel of John, Genesis, and the Essene interpretation, Moses, the prophet of the law, and the Sermon on the Mount. The origin of the brotherhood is said to be unknown, and the derivation of the name is uncertain. Some believe it's from Esnot or Enoch and claim him to be their founder. Their communion with the angelic world having been first given to him, talking about the book of Enoch. Others consider the name coming from Israel, the elect of the people to whom Moses brought forth the communions at Mount Sinai, where they revealed to him by the angelic world. But whatever their origin, it is certain that the Essenes existed for a very long time as a brotherhood, perhaps under other names in other lands. We know them as a style brotherhood. The teaching appears in the Zendavesta of Zoroaster, who translated it into a way of life that was followed for thousands of years. It contains the fundamental concepts of Brahmanism. The Vedas, the Upanishads, and the yoga systems of India sprang from the same source. Buddha later gave forth essentially the same basic ideas, and his sacred Bodhi tree is correlated with the Essene Tree of Life. In Tibet, the teaching once more found expression in the Tibetan Wheel of Life. The Pythagoreans and Stoics in ancient Greece, who followed the Essene principles and much of their way of life. The same teaching was an element of the Adonic culture of the Phoenicians, of the Alexandrian school of philosophy in Egypt, and contributed greatly to many branches of Western culture, Freemasonry, Gnosticism, the Kabbalah, and Christianity. Jesus interpreted it in his most sublime and beautiful form in the 7 Beatitudes of the Sermon on the Mount. One more paragraph. The Essenes lived on shores of lakes and rivers, away from cities and towns, and practiced a communal way of life, sharing equally in everything. They were mainly agriculturists and arboriculturists, having a vast knowledge of crops, soil, climatic conditions, which enabled them to grow a great variety of fruits and vegetables in comparatively desert areas and with a minimum of labor. Islam Wars?
Islam.
So it's a universal brotherhood that we're a part of. When the Prophet crowned us with this fez, it put us in sync with ancient brotherhoods. those who are part of these brotherhoods around the world, when they see us donning the fez, they assume that we're part of that. Then they have to try you. Then you have to pass the test.
Who is it that demands a testament?
Who is it that demands a test? Islam or? Right? But if you're worthy, you can give it back if you're worthy, right? But it's one of those things that, you know, this movement is such that you have to have a guide within it. You see what I'm saying? Jesus was a master in our record. He had a guide. Islam or? You know? So, you know, there's various different things that, you know, that we have to remember. It's things that we should get together and do because these things promote brotherhood, right? We mentioned a few last week, you know, and these were things just in the, you know, in the natural realm, you know, when we are, you know, spending time together, going out, breaking bread together, so on and so forth. But there's certain, you know, spiritual exercises that we can get together and do as well. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, for a long time, we talk about these things, but we have to do these things more. Islam, you know, when it talks about Jesus, you know, sat on the holy day next to, you know, it's a silent meditation next to the spring, you know, for the holy day. It's a way of life. We have to live that life accordingly. Islam, I'd like to ask everybody to please sit up straight, plant your feet solid. We're going to do a brief chant, which they call the Arabic dhikr, right? And in the one of the first words the Prophet gives you, you know, is the name Allah. You know, he had to clarify our conception of the great God of the universe, you know. And the name that he chose to return to us was Allah. Islam was? There's a power just in that name, you know, but you have to know how to access it. There's also the methodology we're going to use for this particular exercise is, you know, it's an ancient Moorish version of the Indian treatment of what they call Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is fire breathing, okay? Which, you know, entails rapid breathing. Anytime you're dealing with rapid breathing, what it does is it opens up, it oxygenates the brain. It opens up those extra centers we don't use on a daily basis. Islam or? Islam. All right? So before we do the actual exercise, we're going to use that most beautiful prayer that we always use, all right? And we can never say enough. Islam or? Islam. Please repeat after me. Allah, Allah, Father of the universe, Father of the universe, Father of love, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is our protector, Allah is our protector, my God, and my salvation, by night, and by day, through His holy prophet, through Ali. Amen. Allah, please, you know, protect our intentions as we go forth with this exercise. What we'll do is we'll start with the name Allah, right? Allah has done it as an exhale. But when you inhale one of Allah's attributes, which is high. Everyone say high. High. High means life. So when you inhale, it'll be more like high. Allah. High. Allah. Right? And then what we'll do is, you have to pay attention to me because we're going to start off slow. And then I'm going to pick up the pace. And you keep pace with me. It's going to get to the point where it's going to seem like your body's about to fall apart. Keep it together. Islam was? All right? In the name of Allah, the most merciful. Allah. Hey. Allah. Allah. Praise Allah.
Allah.
What do you feel? Take your time. What do you feel?
Beauty.
Islam, what do you feel?
You put it in words.
Islam, what do you feel, Mo? How your hands feel?
Tingly.
You feel that? That's Allah. That's the deal on you. Islam was? You're supposed to be able to summon that. Like you have a sixth member of your household, you go to a chant, accessing that, and you deal with something known as transference, right? You take those hands and heal. Islam was, right? It's something you can do. Everyone take your hands. We got it. Good time. We got it. Top. Got it. Pull your hands about an inch away from each other. Feel that? Some may, some may not. Feel that? That's what's known as what they call a plasma ball. So it's a form of energy that you can utilize. Once you have to align your polarity correctly first, because if not, you actually make somebody ill by doing it. But if your polarity is aligned properly, you will take it and raise somebody's vibration up. Islam or?
Islam.
Give one more. Y'all know Om. Everyone knows Om, right? Om, if you were to represent it through transliteration, is not O-M. Right? It's pronounced from, it's like it would be, if you had to do it that way, A-U-M. Right? I hate to drag it down, but A-U-M. Because it actually, starting from your diaphragm up, out that way. Right? The Om principle is known as, that's what they have in India, Om. Moorish forefathers in the Quran of Mecca realized that there were certain surahs that were aligned to something known as the Ayn principle. The Ayn principle and the Om principle is the same. Right? So they would take certain surahs out and they would chant them. Right? Or when there were meetings of the East and the West, the brothers from from India come to Egypt or further to Africa or wherever, and we study together. We do our exercises together. You get this mixture of ritual, right? Everybody, I'd like everybody to do their own, right? So again, feet flat, upright. Breathe in 3 times. One deep, each time deeply. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Everybody in unison. Continue. الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين Islam was? How the Moors?
Well.
How many people right now thinking about your bills right now? That stress you was worried about earlier. You worried about any of that? Not saying that you don't have to be concerned with that, right? You ain't from here though.
No, just realized I was here.
You ain't from here. Don't you be weighted down by the stuff that go on down here.
Tapping in.
You can, you can dial up home if you want to, but you just gotta talk. See, these are things that we're actually gonna go like Friday is a holy day. There's beings that govern this day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In India they call her Lakshmi. Lakshmi governs Friday. Lakshmi actually governs prosperity and wealth, right? The Hebrews called that spirit her Hanayel. Hanayel was over grace and beauty and peace and harmony. Islam? Another school thought they called it Oshun. He was a master of spells and, divination and also harmony, so on and so forth. Islam was? See, it's my position that we need to utilize our sciences to combat what's going on out there, right? There's time where the brotherhoods will get together. We'll have Sufi sessions, Don't get caught on the word Sufi. That was just one period of time. The brotherhood is ancient. Those rituals are ancient. Islam was? That stuff, especially the Hatha yoga, that's ancient Canaanite. It's pre-Prophet Muhammad. Ancient, right? Because the ancient masters figured out that there were certain tones of vibration, right, that made you access certain realms. That's why we call them Allah. Because it's an energy to be accessed.
Yes.
Islam. I rise with most high praise to Allah, and most high praise to Allah, and the highest of honors to His noble and divine prophet, True Ali. Islam. I wanted to know if there were any, what were the boundaries on that?
So, with the rituals?
Yeah.
So, technically what you want to do is, I only introduced that because most of us were fasting already.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Technically, you want to clean yourself out before you start accessing energies. Because I'll do this in lower 5 minutes. Your inner being, your spirit, also radiates outside of your form. That's your safeguard mechanism for something in the energies and the ethers that's not right. You feel it before it gets to you, right? But if there's something in your energies that's not right, and you go into one of them chants, you actually bring those energies to you, the negatives. So you have to be careful about, you know, where you're at before you do those energies. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I said, you know, fasting, you know, the wearing of white during those rituals is really key. You might think because it's a physical garment, it doesn't matter what color you wear. Oh yes, it does. Islam, because certain colors reflect certain energies. You know what I'm saying? Because if we were arrayed properly, because remember, before Jesus got initiated, he was clothed in a proper garb. Right? That's what it says in the record. But if this was done, you know, as it should have been done, instead of asking you, what do you feel, I would ask you, what did you see? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, there's, you know, something called clairvoyance that it'll open your inner sight to other realms. And then, what did you see? And then, what did you have to bring back? Because you'll be able to get that message and bring it back to us so we can benefit the group. All of us might not get it, but you might be the one to get it. And then we bring that back to tell us. See what I'm saying? Why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because all the things we got to do, the pragmatic, practical stuff, like, you know, stuff like that, because we're not carnal beings, we have to access our spiritual side to reboot us, to get us thinking properly, to do the physical work. Can't do the physical work. That's where the source of the problems is coming from, because that's the point when we're becoming too carnal-minded or too dense in vibration. When you become dense in your vibration, that's when your vibration slows down. The fire breathing, what it does is it speeds your vibration up, which is why the first thing you start feeling is your molecules in your body just tingling and stuff like that. Now you got to go and do a good uplifting act. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't summon that and not do something with it. Islam? When mass groups of mystics get together and do those things, you'll notice storms and stuff that happen because the energy has to redirect itself. So, you see what I'm saying? The ancient Moorish forefathers would know that when they would go to battle, there was someone on the battlefield, there was someone on the side putting in some work. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, the Europeans was recording it was a sandstorm that only came our way. Islam? I mean, you better get up on your forefathers. I'm just trying to tell you. But more, the point is that Drew Ali was a master. You know, he wasn't just a master of physical law, he was a master mystic as well. You know what I'm saying? Drew Ali was an occult master. I say occult, just meaning the word means hidden. Stuff he dealt with, he was dealing with high mystical stuff that was dealt with in the ancient brotherhoods. He brought that to us. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things that we want to give, but again, we got to know that one's worthy. You know what I'm saying? Because these things are life changing. I don't, like, when I start feeling that stress and stuff like that, oh, I know the number. I got something for all that. You know, y'all ain't gonna kill me down here. You know what I'm saying? That's for, you know, that's for anybody, family, anybody. You ain't gonna kill me. I'll be right back. Let me go close this door real quick. I'll be back. Put something on all of this. Yeah. We're gonna change all of this around right quick. You know what I mean? And then, you know, when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're expanding your chest. You're purifying your heart. Islam was saying to read the Prophet Muhammad. Islam. So, praise Allah. I want to thank y'all for sharing that with me. You know what I'm saying? It's hard, you know, like, it's not fitting to walk around with this stuff in your head and you don't share it with your brothers. You know what I'm saying? You know, and sisters. Because we got to get the sisters together and doing those things. And a lot of that will stop different things going on with sisters. You know what I'm saying? But, man, that second one, man, I hit a certain thing I almost broke. Please don't, because I'm almost sitting Niagara Falls joint, like, you know what I'm saying? Because what it is, it's a love that's so pure, but you're here. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that feeling is indescribable. So it comes through the vent. It has to come. These are pressure valves. You know, I seen you, brother. I seen Brother Collie. Yeah, he came out here to wipe his eyes. Almost said, "Yeah, it's love." That's beauty. That's love, man.
It's love.
But praise Allah. You know, praise Allah for the Prophet. Praise Allah for our forefathers. For, you know, what is the everlasting gospel?
It is the saving power.
It comes from who?
From Allah.
From Allah.
To our forefathers.
By who?
By His Prophet.
Islam was. We just demonstrated all that tonight.
Islam. Allahu Akbar.
You know, imagine if you had Allahu Akbar, talk big.
Allahu Akbar.
Imagine if you had temples all around the country at a certain time to get together on them exercises. Powerful, those. Islam.
They did it in Haiti.
Say again?
They did it in Haiti. They got it back.
They demonstrated. They said all them Europeans that was coming caught yellow fever at once.
One time.
But it was working. You know, and for all those who's watching us on Facebook Live, I pray Allah that you shared it in those rituals with us, those exercises, because again, more Science of America Friday night is a holy night, and you know, we want to start getting into the meditations and all of that, and really make it what it's supposed to be, you know, because for us to do the work that we have, for us to draw the people that we have, our spirits have to be right. And when they look in our eyes, they have to see a prophet. So you got to access his energy. You access his energy by accessing who sent him. Islam Moors?
Islam.
And with that, our Lord and meeting Islam.
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 More Science of America, Noble Raleigh founded, home office, Chicago, Illinois, March 11, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitated speech while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in that prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Heru Ranesi-El. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Heru Ranesi-El. Islam.
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 All praise is due to Allah, the highest of honors, to his holy and divine prophet. Prophet Noble Heru Ranesi-El. Islam Moors.
Islam.
What is our prophet to us?
He's an
Angel of Allah. Go ahead.
Sent from Allah.
That's why you're supposed to attend your Sunday school.
Box me in.
Islam?
Islam.
Islam? Don't give it to me now. Don't give it to me now. See y'all on Sunday.
Yeah.
Islam?
Islam.
Because Moors is like, again, you gotta make it part of every part, Moors. I know, look, let's be real, right? 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. Prophet asked you for 4. That's not much. That's no burden. He asked you for 4 hours. He asked you for 4 hours. And that's only to make us better Moorish American Muslims. Because we can't get into the high science if we don't know our basic lessons. You know? When the chairman asked how many know the divine constitution and bylaws, you know what I'm saying, by heart. You know, if you can quote the law, you can live the law. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know the law, you can't be what you don't know. Islam Moors? And worse yet, in the Islamic world, the broader Islamic world, the need for what they call the hafiz of Quran came about because in the early days when wars were waged, everybody fought the wars. So ones who had memorized the Quran were dying off. You know what I'm saying? So they, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave an edict that said, look, take the ones that memorized and set them aside, and their whole job is to preserve the record. We'll call them hafiz. The hafiz is a guardian of the holy record. Islam?
Islam.
You gotta think, if there were no more holy Qurans printed, there were no more divine constitutional bylaws printed. According to the record, said when the prophet came back to the east, he sat down with the printer and dictated the whole record from memory. That's according to what was handed down to us. The Europeans took that and put that in the book of Eli. At the end, he sat down with the all white on, he just started going. In the beginning, he started and just ran it. Islam? But we have to become the record, right? And you'll notice, once you start, memorize these things and, like the Bible says, etching it on the tablet of your heart, you'll notice it'll start changing your action. You'll get in a situation and the lesson will come. That instruction for that situation will just come to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, praise Allah, I won't even think about it, but it just downloads. Islam Moors? And let's be clear, like the Moorish Science Temple of America is a high spiritual order. It's very, very high. The Naqshbandi Sufi order, they wear a particular headdress, so what they call tawiyah. It's like a, top that comes up to a point. They wrap it, generally with a red turban, right? But this is our mystical headdress. This is our initiation into those orders, those same orders. It's ancient. Islam? And what's supposed to dwell up under it is even more ancient, right? That thought was before the fairs was made, right? The Lord says, who made you? Y'all said Allah, right? And how did he make you? Fearfully and wonderfully. When did he make you? From time never was. Islam? Because the essence of you is eternal. There's no birthday on that. All right? But We gotta start becoming that. And the more of us that want that, we'll start to find ourselves coalescing into one community. Right? It says, hold on to the rope of Allah as one community and do not be separated. Islam or?
Islam.
Praise Allah for brotherhood. Praise Allah for tonight's ritual. Praise Allah for accessing the holy breath. We talk about the holy breath. Y'all say y'all demonstrated tonight. Right? What have we to say about the holy breath?
All we have to say is great.
Good, was, is, and ever will be. Amen. Islam?
Islam.
Y'all knew that one though. Y'all started on the other one, but y'all demonstrated. See the power of demonstration? Islam. But with that, I want to say I love you all with perfect love, and that'll never change. Islam. Please rise. Face the east. The source of which they say all light has come. Right? There's 5 on the left, 2 on the right, invoking the sacred presence, 7 Elohim, who created everything that ever was, is, or ever more to be. Brother Kenneth, please take us out.
Allah.
Allah.
Father of the universe.
Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My God. And my salvation. By night.
And by
day. Through his holy prophet. Drew Ali. Amen.
Islam, boys. Praise Allah.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Hayya ala salah.